honoring the legacy and heroism of Berks County residents. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Joshua Blay. He's the Associate Director and Museum Curator for the Historical Society of Berks County. Thanks for being with us. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
We're talking about the Civil War and the role that Berks County residents played during this pivotal time in American history. You have an exhibit, The Last Full Measure, Berks County at War, 1861 to 1865. Give us an idea as to what this exhibit includes.
Well, this exhibit is about the soldiers' experience at war mostly. We have an exhibit right now. It's called The First of Berks County, which talks about how the first militia to volunteer for the war was from Berks County. But this is more of the at-war experience. We have some really well-known people of the time. John E. Arthur, he was a Lycoming County native, but he settled in Berks County. Right before the Civil War, he served in the Mexican War. But he was 35 when he volunteered for the Civil War. He was a blacksmith at the railroad shops. Very commendable service. He served with the 93rd, but he's most known for his service for the city of Reading after the war. In 1870, there was a bank panic, and a lot of municipalities and a lot of personal loss as well as municipality loss. He personally replenished $8,000 of the city's funds without telling the city.
So essentially he floated the city during a bank panic.
That's essentially what he did. But the more amazing part is that he didn't tell anybody he did it. The city found out after the fact and made him replenish all the money he had gave the city with interest. And he was the city treasurer for 20 years. I can't imagine anybody doing that today. The equivalent of that is about $150,000 in today's money, if you can imagine that.
In addition to that individual, you mentioned an early volunteer, really the first volunteer.
Yes. His name was Aaron Greenewalt. He was from Kempton. He had moved to Minnesota in his 20s, born right here in the Kempton area. He moved to Minnesota. The governor of Minnesota was in Washington, D.C. when Abraham Lincoln put out the call for troops to defend the Union. And the governor of Minnesota got the permission to form the first volunteer regiment. Aaron Greenewalt, upon hearing the news, was the first one to sign up for that regiment.
And that's just one of the incredible stories, and we can find out the details about his life during this exhibit. But I want to quickly get to your opening program on July 13th.
Certainly.
Tell us about this author.
Dr. Valeska is a noted professor emeritus from Kutztown University and former director of the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center. He co-wrote a number of Civil War books, including Damn Dutch. Very well-noted speaker. He's going to be giving our opening program on Saturday, July 13th at 10 a.m., talking about the Pennsylvania German culture and their role to play in the war, especially at Gettysburg.
And that's just part of what we can experience as part of this program. And there was a unit, the 151st. They had a 72% casualty rate?
Yes, the highest casualty rate of the war. They had about a third of the regiment was made up of Berks County volunteers. They had marched about 150 miles, as much as 25 miles in one day, to arrive at Gettysburg on the first day of fighting. The Battle of Gettysburg was over a 3-day period. Their first day, they had 72% casualty rate. Now that includes not only killed, but also injured and missing. And the 72% is the highest of any regiment at Gettysburg any of the 3 days.
Another amazing story, and we just have a short time left, but this is an exhibit that runs July 13th through June 7th of next year.
Correct.
So an opportunity for people to come and experience these stories and find out more about life right here in this area 150 years ago.
Certainly, and we'll be borrowing many pieces from the National Civil War Museum in Harrisburg, and we'll have a lot of local pieces too. It really gives us the chance to get a lot of our collections on display. That isn't often on
Thanks
display.
so much for being with us.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Joshua Blay. I'm Jill Horner.